Greetings. I am John Thomas Doe Sr., the 83rd Grand Master of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. I welcome you to this historic website of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge. Just to give you a little brief preload of the things I am now serving in my second year of a 2-year tenure as Grand Master. I want to just welcome you and say to you as you view this site that the history of this Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge is something that we are very, very proud of, and I certainly hope that you will enjoy it. Let me just now go into a little bit of background in my personal history and my Masonic career. I became a Mason in 1985 in Doric Lodge number 19. You know, it came about because I had a member of my family, John Milton Doles, who was a District Deputy Grand Master and past Master of Arlington Lodge number 58. He was someone who inspired me, and as a result of watching him and the way he dealt with Masonry, I sought to become a Mason, and I went on to give my petition to a brother of mine, my voucher, Charles Kennedy, who vouched for me, him and Willie M. Browning, to become a Mason in Doric Lodge number 19, again, as I say, in the year 1985. On being raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason, I went on to become very, very enthused and encouraged on what I saw in Masonry. I felt as though I had joined an organization where men who shared the same values that I did and who had something to bring to not only to me as a Mason but to me as an individual. I was nurtured, if you want to say, in Masonry, and not only Masonry but in being a good man and a good outstanding member of the community. I became, my first position in the lodge was Marshal. And I served that position for a couple of years. And actually, I felt as though that was one of the greatest positions in Masonry and wanted to remain there for a while. I had my only ambition at that time was to be the marshal. And but the brothers in my lodge, some of whom had certainly more wisdom than I did at that time, said, no, you need to move on. So I went on, and through the years, I went on to become Worshipful Master. In the year of 1996, the lodge elected me. After becoming Worshipful Master, I was elected to the President of the Masters and Wardens of the jurisdiction of the District of Columbia, which was a great honor. And also, during that same year, I received, or rather, I won the Jewel Contest for our Masonic Excellence in the 3rd degree. And those are just some of the things that I did when I was coming up through the line as Worshipful Master. But after serving my time in the lodge, I then went on down to the 4th floor with our Order of the Eastern Star, and I served there as a worthy patron of Naomi Chapter number 9 for 3 years, after which I went on to become the Associate Grand Patron of the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter. And from that position, I was selected as the Grand Worthy Patron of the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter in the year 2003 and 2004. And I must give credit, I believe, to my time spent down in the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter, because it afforded me an opportunity to become very visible throughout the jurisdiction. And I think that there were some who thought that through my endeavors as Grand Worthy Patron, I might be a candidate to become Grand Master. After having served at that time as with the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter, and then I was appointed to the position of Junior Grand Deacon by, at that time, Most Worshipful Grand Master Aaron R. Jordan, and thus began my career through, as they call it, back four, and subsequently I was elected to Right Worshipful Junior Grand Warden after serving the Senior Grand Deacon's position. And I went on from there to obviously become Grand Master of this great jurisdiction. Now, during my time as Grand Master, I have a few things that I think I have accomplished, and I want to just speak about them right now. Now, there were two things that I felt that were very important as Grand Master, and the first was our commitment to our youth, and the second thing was our commitment to our seniors. And as my very first act as Grand Master was to bring about the ability of the youth to be grandfathered in, particularly from the Phyllis S. Berry Youth Fraternity, to have those members of the fraternity who had served 2 or more consecutive years, once they reached the age of 18, to come on to be grandfathered in as Eastern Stars, and to also allow them to become members, and if they choose to go on to college, to be exempt from dues and assessment during their college tenure for 4 years or up to the age of 22. The same thing was applied to the Order of the Knights of Pythagoras. So I think those were one of the two things that I felt was most important. So we got off my tenure as Grand Master with a big bang by having those things brought before the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge, and they voted it during the annual session to make it law. And the other thing that I wanted to do was to honor our senior citizens here in the District of Columbia. And I got that idea from the jurisdiction of Maryland, down at Roscoe C. Cartwright, where they had for several years been having a Thanksgiving luncheon for the senior citizens. And I thought that that was a wonderful idea. And I told them that I was not going to just start this as though I was the one that thought the idea up. And I told them, I said, when I become Grand Master, or if I should become Grand Master, that was going to be one of the programs that I was going to promote. I subsequently gave that to the Grand Lodge as something that we wanted to do. And last year, on the Monday before Thanksgiving, we fed a little bit more than 400 senior citizens from Ward 1 here in the District of Columbia. It was a wonderful time to be had by all, and we are now gearing up to have our second annual Thanksgiving luncheon for the senior citizens here in Ward 1 of the District of Columbia. Now, during that particular luncheon, we had sent out invitations to Councilman Jim Graham of Ward 1 and the mayor, Mayor Gray, and they honored us by being in attendance at that time, and it went on to be a tremendous program and a wonderful time to be had by all. And it served to promote the idea of my motto, which was renewing our relevance by strong bonding with the community. And that was one of my premier programs, and I am proud to say it was very successful. And I again want to give, I want to thank the jurisdiction of Maryland for the opportunity to take one of their ideas and bring it to here to the District of Columbia. Now, one of the other visions I had as I was about to become Grand Master was to have a Masonic Classic here in the District of Columbia, and that would be held up at Howard University, where we would sponsor the game of basketball, a basketball game, and I was fortunate enough to have that vision come true in my very first year. I actually thought it would take my first year just to get the groundwork established for that, but I was fortunate enough to have that done, thanks in no small part to Grand Worthy Patron Thomas L. Coleman, who chaired that event for me. At that time, I had stipulated to the committee that I wanted to make sure that, again, with my motto of strong bonding with the community, that we would give scholarships of $5,000 to 2 deserving students who were in attendance at Howard University, and one of the stipulations would be that they must be students who were residents of the District of Columbia. We again were fortunate enough to have that transpire, and we at the halftime of the game between the men of Howard University and Compton State over in Maryland, gave two $5,000 scholarships to worthy members of the Howard University student body. And I want to also make mention to the fact that the Grand Lodge had great help and participation from the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter under the leadership of Grand Worthy Matron Barbara E. Murray. So I give thanks to them, and I give thanks to this jurisdiction, and more particularly to Almighty God for allowing that to happen. Again, the vision that I had of being relevant in the community was enhanced by that program. Another one of my visions that I was fortunate to have come to fruition was to have a prostate cancer walk here to raise funds to sponsor the research at Howard University for the prostate cancer. I was very fortunate in my very first year again to be able to accomplish that. We held that historic walk on April of 2013. And much to my surprise, I did not realize at that time that we were the first organization of any type to have a prostate cancer walk here in the District of Columbia. And even furthermore, I found out that we were only the second organization to have a prostate cancer walk in the United States, period. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud and pleased with the members of this jurisdiction who came out and felt it not robbery to participate in that program. And that was in 2013, and we followed that up with another prostate cancer walk in 2014, and we had much more support of that, and many more brothers and sisters came out to support that effort. And we look forward as we go forth into 2015 under the next administration of continuing with that walk of supporting prostate cancer here in the District of Columbia and the research at Howard University. Our next initiative was our annual scholarship program, which is held every year on the first Saturday in June. And we were very fortunate during my first year to give out somewhere in the neighborhood of $86,000 to students here in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia area. This is one of our ongoing programs which we have been doing for a number of years, and we as Masons are very proud here in the District of Columbia of what we have done and what we continue to do to support our students. We followed that up here again in this year in 2014 with our next scholarship program, where we gave $104,000 in scholarship to deserving students here in the District of Columbia, Virginia, and Maryland. We are extremely proud of what we have done over the years and the numbers that we have given over the period that the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge has been involved with this program is now approaching somewhere in the area of $1 million that we have given to deserving students. We hope that we can continue to do this, because it's my belief as Grand Master that the future of us as African Americans and this community lies with our youth, and we should always endeavor to do as much as we can to promote the youth of the District of Columbia, DC, Virginia, and Maryland. I want to give also thanks to our youth director, Sister Annette Scarborough with the Phyllis S. Bird Youth Fraternity, and Brother Arnold Hudson, and both of whom are our directors for our youth here in the District of Columbia. And they both have done outstanding jobs with our youth. I think that our youth continue to move forward, and they are progressing very nicely. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the initiatives that I put in place as Grand Master to grandfather in those young ladies in the order of in the Phyllis S. Bird into the Order of the Eastern Star. As you may well recognize if you're a member of the Masonic body, that in the Order of the Eastern Star, you have to have the proper bloodline in order to become an Eastern Star. But there were many cases in the Phyllis S. Bird Youth Fraternity where young ladies had been nurtured in that organization, and then once they became 18 years of age, did not have that particular bloodline of being the wife, widow, mother, sister, or daughter of a Master Mason. But we felt strongly that anyone that we had and had nurtured up to that point, that we could put something in place so that they could become members of the Eastern Star. And again, once we said about the brothers in the Knights of Pythagoras, to offer them the opportunity to become Master Masons and to suspend that dues portion, dues and assessment, until they had completed their education and through college or up to the age of 22. That has been a very successful program. During our very first year, I think we had about 10 young men to come out of the Order of the Knights of Pythagoras who went on to become Master Masons and have subsequently gone on to college. I also want to take opportunity to thank the Grand Worthy Matron of the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter, Sister Barbara E. Murray, who worked with me during her tenure to make things, a lot of things that we take for granted in Masonry as men, that the women contribute to the success of this jurisdiction, and we don't often give them enough thanks. And I want to personally thank Grand Worthy Matron Barbara E. Murray for all that she's done and for the harmonious work environment that she and I have fostered in order to benefit the jurisdiction of the District of Columbia. And along with her, I also want to thank Grand Worthy Patron Thomas L. Coleman, whom I selected to represent me, my personal representative at the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter. He's done a fantastic job, and I think the jurisdiction of the District of Columbia on the male and the female side have prospered and enjoyed this harmonious relationship that the Grand Lodge and the Grand Chapter have had. And now I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate one of our own from the jurisdiction of the District of Columbia, a young lady who has gone on to become the Imperial Commanders of the Daughters of the Isis with over 20,000 membership, and that is Imperial Commandress Sadie B. Mitchell, who is our very own. We were looking forward with great pleasure on her becoming Imperial Commandress, and that happened on last year, and we are certainly most pleased to have her in our jurisdiction, and we are doing everything to make sure that she has a very successful tenure as Imperial Commandress. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Brother Rochelle Rick Julian from the jurisdiction of Virginia, and we consider him a part of our own, as Rick is a brother who resides just across the river over in Virginia, and he was elected as the 41st Imperial Potentate of the ancient Egyptian Arabic Order of the Noble of the Mystic Shrine. And once again, we offer our congratulations to him, and again, Rick, we consider you as one of our own. I want to also just say, as I conclude my remarks, that the motto that I had chosen for my tenure as Grand Master was renewing our relevance through strong community bonding. I think we've done a great job in that, and I want to just thank the worshipful masters of the 25 warranted lodges who, without their help, this certainly could not have happened, and also the 15 worthy matrons of the Georgiana Thomas Grand Chapter and their subordinate chapters and their worthy patrons. We have had a wonderful time, and I just want to say, as I always have said to the members of this jurisdiction, that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. God bless you, and enjoy the website.